In our ever-connected world, we're constantly sharing our thoughts, our experiences, but sometimes our greatest impact can come from sharing the things that we know. These are the things we've learned, lessons we've grown from, and passions we've mastered. And that's exactly what we're seeing happen. People around the world are now sharing their knowledge as their body of work, building their credibility, their freedom of time, their way to earn an income, and for some, it's their legacy for the world. It becomes a manifestation where their imagination met creation, and what is most exciting about this time is that this movement is for everyone, because everyone is a creator. Everyone has a skill and knowledge they can share. No, they must share. No matter your location, your background, your story, your experiences, everyone can do this. You can teach the things you love and be able to impact the lives of others. You can teach the things that may seem simple to you and be able to grow a community around your work. You can create, inspire, follow your dreams, and change the norm. So we welcome you, the new creators, our next creators. Let this be your platform, because if there's one thing we know, it's that nothing is impossible and everything is teachable.
We are live. Welcome to our very first Q&A session for the Creator Challenge. Now, let me know if you can see me, you can hear me. We are in for such a treat today. We are joined with Seth Godin. Now, if you're meeting Seth for the very first time, just a very quick introduction, but he's the author of 19 books that have been bestsellers around the world. You may be familiar with some of them. We have Linchpin, Tribes, The Dip, Purple Cow, This is Marketing. In 2018, he was inducted into the Marketing Hall of Fame, and more than 10,000 people have taken his powerful workshops, including Alt MBA and the Marketing Seminar. And I know that there's some of you here that are already a part of that. And really, this is just a small piece of the things that this man has done, the impact that he has had. So really grateful to have him here. Now, for those of you that are tuning in live, the format of today's session is it's completely open to your questions. So type them into the chat. And while we might not get to every single one, just note that you're still going to leave here with new insights and inspiration. Without further ado now, Seth, thank you so much for being here.
I gotta say, watching that video made the whole thing worth it. Boy, that was good. Sign me up.
Well, we're very grateful to have you here. And I'm already seeing quite a few questions in the chat. But I think for us to start, I mean, you've seen the evolution of several industries, including email marketing. With online courses becoming more popular, what do you feel like creators should be doing to stand out in their niches?
Okay, so I invented email marketing in 1990, and people said I was crazy. Most people didn't have an email address then. It was around the time that people were becoming spammers, and I said, that doesn't work. We have to do something else. And I started doing online courses a really long time ago as well. I don't think I invented them, but it was a really long time ago. And people started around then spamming in the sense of, what's the shortcut? How do I get the maximum amount of money for the minimum amount of effort? How do I just push things on people? And so I think the most important lesson that people can take away now, because these are the early days. This is like being in the car business in 1920. In 1920, there were 2,600 car companies in the United States. You got to do it in a way that you're proud of. And what would make you proud of it, I think, is not how many people took your course, but how much of a change were you able to make? Because that's what teaching is. Teaching creates moments of incompetence on the way to people becoming confident and competent again. And that is not the direct short path, but it is the right path. It's the way we're going to make this work worth it.
Well, I think you bring up a really great point, which is that, you don't need to have a lot of people to make an impact with what you're doing. Now, a question from Hijazi here was asking, when launching an online course, some people use their personal brand to be the face of the academy, and some don't do that. Is there like a best practice for that?
So I answered a question for next week's Akimbo about Kickstarter. And what I pointed out is that it should be called Kick Finisher, not Kickstarter. Because to do it right, it's the end of a long journey of building a following, not the beginning. So sure, every once in a while, something like a Pebble watch shows up on Kickstarter and goes viral. But the chances that your course is going to go viral are very, very low. You are a needle in a haystack. And the way to win is not by trying to make a lot of needles. It's by trying to find a haystack that people are eager to be part of. And so I don't think it matters whether you put your face on it or not. Like some of the workshops we run have my name all over them and I'm in them. And others like the Alt MBA, there's no video of me in it. That's not how it works. And the choice then is, how many people want to hear from you? How many people trust you? How many people are listening to you? You earn that first before you run around trying to get people to sign up for your course.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have just a follow-up to that. Leading up to the course, Angelica's asking, I need to find a strategy to re-engage 1,500 leads generated from a free trial course. Right. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the story people have about money. Because money is not paper, money is not Bitcoin, money is a story. And different people have different stories about it. So if you think about Bill Gates, in the amount of time it takes Bill Gates to bend over and pick up a $20 bill, he makes more than $20, which means that Bill Gates, if he drops a $20 bill, should not stop to pick it up. He should go to work instead. But my guess, knowing Bill, is that he would stop and pick up the $20 bill, because the story he tells himself about money isn't how much can I possibly have in the bank. It's, I'm not the kind of person that's going to drop a $20 bill and just leave it there like a sloppy person. So what kind of person signs up for a free trial of a course? They might not be the kind of person that sees themselves as someone who pays for a course. Because as soon as you say this course costs money, you're activating a different story. And that story dominates our mind and it changes the way we learn. You know, we know that Harvard has enough money in their endowment for Harvard to be free for the next 50 years for every single person who goes. But Harvard isn't free. And a lot of people who go to Harvard are glad to pay because they feel like it must be better because it's expensive. So the challenge we have when we want to take someone from free to paid is not, oh, well, you have to pay because otherwise how will I make a living? Nor is it, well, you already stole my free stuff from me, you need to pay for this. Because that doesn't work either. People are selfish. Why does it cost money to go see, you know, pick your favorite artist, Elton John, Ariana Grande, in concert, as opposed to listening to them on your phone, which is free? The music is not even as good in concert. So what are you paying for? You're paying to be in the room where it happens, to be in the room with the other people. And you don't have to justify that. That's what it's worth. Pay or don't pay. And so that's the challenge, is they got your course for free. Now you're asking them to pay for your course just to get more of it. And getting someone to pay for more of something is really hard if the story they've told themselves is it should be free.
Well, that actually brings up a very interesting point, which is that I know we had a question from Justin Steinfelder, who's part of Alt MBA, and something that, I mean, he's been raving about that program, but he said that there is such a strong community afterwards. And I know that you do in-person work, like you don't just rely on the videos. Could you talk a bit about like how you've created such a strong community to make people want to pay to be a part of that as well?
Right. So there is no shortage of Seth Godin stuff online. You could spend the rest of your life and you might not finish it. There's 7,400 blog posts. There are hundreds of hours of free video. I'm everywhere. I mean, enough already. And it's all free. So why should you pay? Well, that's why when we started the Alt MBA, I said, there's no secret here. It's not some secret video of Seth that's worth paying for. The Alt MBA is about the 125 people we're going to surround you with, and the 10 people in your cohort, and the live coaches, and the alumni network afterwards, and being supported and surrounded by people like you. And if you can go find that somewhere else for free, I'm going to encourage you to go get it. I don't know any other place where you can get that for free. So it's not behind a paywall stuff. And that's one of the challenges you have when you try to sell a video course, is YouTube is filled with video. And people who have a story about money that says, I'd rather it be free, are busy looking at a crochet video or a filmmaking video on YouTube for free. So you better have a better true story about what's going to happen inside this place. And for me, I believe that the future of everything that's digital is always the same. The digital part trends toward free, and the interaction part trends toward priceless.
Well, this brings up, there's quite a few questions here because for someone that's just starting out and they're like, okay, well, I need to show people that I can help them get value for free, you would assume. And so what you're saying is that the transition from free to paid is that it's more than just another like free mini course. It's that there's also that added community. There's that work. Is that something that you would?
Yeah, that's one part of it. So, if you want to get your house painted, the house painter doesn't come and paint your front door for free and then say, now do you want me to paint your house? The house painter says, look at these 4 houses, these addresses. I painted those houses. Talk to the people in those houses. Ask them what it was like. That's what it's like to work with me. You need to pay if you want me to paint your house. That's the way house painting works. So if you have truly transformed people through the scarce, precious interactions and videos within your course, then someone who's not inclined to trust you should talk to those people. And you have to figure out how to not only build a reputation, but make it so that the people who have been through it talk about it. That's how your idea will spread. And it's not easy. And the problem with this has happened with every form of digital. It's not just what's going on Teachable. Is it's so hard to make a Kindle book and so hard to make a video or so hard to make songs online that we say, oh, I'm exhausted, that's enough. But it's not enough. You have to go beyond that and say, not only did I pull this off, but I did it in a way that the people I touched can't stop talking about it.
So great. Now, speaking of creating courses, and it takes time. It's not something that, and we say like, it does take time to do this, especially as you're working with people, making sure that people are getting results. Now, do you have any advice for people because I think there's a lot of talk about marketing, right? Like how to get new students in. There's a lot to be said of creating transformation for the people inside your course. Do you have any advice to help people who are creating their course to ensure their students do get to that final outcome?
Okay. So here's what we understand about the pedagogy of education. If there isn't tension, there isn't learning. Tension is the feeling of, I don't like being incompetent. Tension is the feeling of, will this be on the test? Tension is the feeling of, will I become a person I don't recognize on the other side of this? So there's tension to get into medical school. There's tension the first day you deal with the cadavers. There's tension when they're dealing with advanced organic chemistry. There's tension with the final exams. There's tension with the match to figure out which hospital you're going to go to. Tension, 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 tension. And then at the end, you're a doctor. So for 6 years, it was tense. That's where education happens. You can be funny, right? Watching an episode of Seinfeld or, Gary Gulman talking about contractors is funny. But you didn't learn very much because there weren't very many moments of tension. And so what it means to transform somebody is to willingly inflict tension on them to get them up to the next level of quantum excitement. And the problem with doing that online is that when you do it, a lot of people quit. And that's why the typical online course has a 4% completion rate. Because as soon as you apply the right amount of tension, people leave. So you got to figure out how to make it so they don't leave, so that you can put in the tension that makes it likely that they will be transformed.
So what would you say to someone who, let's say that they have a course and they live somewhere where maybe their students aren't necessarily based. So bringing people together might be difficult, or maybe not in their means to fly out to a certain location. Are there ways that they can still bring people together?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have 3,300 graduates in the Alt MBA. We've never brought more than 100 of them together ever. Mm-hmm. We have digital meetups where they can meet each other ongoing in Zoom. We have an ongoing community now of 10,000 people that we run in Discourse, where people are constantly connecting back and forth. But we're not in the physical engagement business anymore. We just do that every once in a while, a cherry on top, but that's not what people are signing up for.
That's great. So for those of you that are wondering, like, how am I going to like meet all my people? Yeah, as you grow, I think Zoom is a great resource as well. Okay, so question from Caitlin, who asks, being in the wedding industry, teaching wedding dance, I'm only needed for a short term of time. Is there a different strategy I should have for my approach for getting followers? I think maybe she means students or customers.
So somebody asked me the other day about how they were going to grow their business. Their businesses for people between 75 and 85 years old who will use computers to create a digital memory book for their great-grandchildren. And I said, boy, it would be great if that worked. But I could pick any business I wanted, and I wouldn't pick that one. Because it's really hard to find 80-year-olds who believe they have a digital scrapbooking problem, who will reach out, seek you out, find you, pay you money, and use your solution. That Napster grew on college campuses, not in nursing homes, because on college campuses, people also have spare time. But on college campuses, people have a lot of friends, and they really like new music. So it's great that you teach wedding dance. I think that's what I heard you say. But it's not clear that you can scale that in the way that you want, because the amount that someone's going to pay you for this short-term interaction is insufficient. There's a reason a wedding cake, a fancy one, costs $1,000. It's not because there's a lot of baked good in it. It's because it's hard to sell a wedding cake. And so you got to charge enough to make it worth all the drama. And I guess if I were someone with your skills, I would figure out horizontally or vertically, what else can I add to what I teach, so that once a bride is in my circle, I can also teach her flower arranging. I could also teach her how to make a toast. I could also teach her how to write a thank you note. And that as you do this, the value of each customer goes up. And since the value of each customer goes up, you can spend more to find a new one.
That's great. And actually that brings us to Bomik's question, who is asking about pricing. So you're saying wedding cakes are more expensive because it's harder to sell them. And he says, pricing my first course for $120 for 1 hour technical course, is it a good idea? Should it be on the lower side? But I think this addresses quite a few questions here about pricing.
Yeah.
How do we charge?
Okay, so remember, money is a story. Here's what we know. Journal of Wine Economics does a study among sommeliers and people who love wine. And they say, here's a $100 bottle of wine, here's a $10 bottle of wine. Which one tastes better? And every person picks the $100 bottle of wine. Then they blindfold people, give them unmarked glasses, and they say, which one tastes better? And not everyone, a significant percentage of people pick the $10 bottle of wine. So what did we just learn? We learned that blindfolded people prefer cheap wine. We also know that no one who drinks wine drinks it with a blindfold on. There is no double-blind study when you're enjoying wine. That the $100 price point is part of why you like it. So what does that mean about a course? What it means is that expensive courses, for certain people, work better than cheap courses. That's why certain people go to the surgeon instead of the chiropractor, because the surgeon's more expensive. That we in our society have conflated price with quality. And if quality makes us believe, and believing gets us through the tension, and getting through the tension helps us learn, that means expensive courses actually teach us more than cheap courses for some people. So I guess the question you've got to ask yourself is, who exactly is this work for? If I am trying to teach people in Kabira, people who are outside the mainstream of capitalism, how to do a basic skill, I probably shouldn't charge $1,200 because it doesn't match who they are or what they want. On the other hand, if I am trying to teach people who run significant businesses a really powerful way to have a one-on-one meeting, maybe I should charge $10,000. Because even if the course only lasts an hour, The person who pays $10,000 for an hour-long course is going to be focused, have high expectations, not just for me, but for themselves.
And what would you say to people that maybe as they do their first launch and they speak to the people that were going through that sequence, and when they say, like, the reason I didn't buy was it was too expensive, is that, should we take that at face value? Is there a way to kind of dive deeper into that?
No. Two reasons. One, people who don't like what you're doing or say it's too expensive are mostly saying, sorry, it's not for me. That's different than saying, I know everything there is to know about the universe and I have analyzed your market and this is too expensive. That's not what they're saying. Saying it's not for me. And the second thing they're saying is, based on my story of money and based on what's around me, there are people I trust more than you who can solve my problem better than you. Buy. And that's true. So you've got to figure out, are there enough people who trust you, who see you, who believe that you are the best option? And, if you're at an intersection with gas stations on all four corners, and we've all been taught that all gas is the same, and you're trying to sell your gas for 10 cents more a gallon, well, unless there's something else about the way you sell your gas, no one's going to buy it. On the other hand, if you are the one and only Warren Buffett, you can sell lunch for $1 million because there's someone who will pay $1 million to have lunch with you, not because you're going to be giving advice that's worth $1 million, but because you're Warren Buffett. So the best way to succeed at building a course of that makes you worth what it costs you is to become Warren Buffett, become someone people trust, become someone who's the one and only. And then the thing you're going to teach, you can charge appropriately for. And I know you're not going to be Warren Buffett, but you could be the Warren Buffett of crochet, right? That Abby Ryan pioneered the painting a day lifestyle. And I bet if Abby Ryan ran a course on Teachable, she could charge a lot for it because she's the one and only Abby Ryan.
This is great, Seth. There's a very interesting question that came in here from Franklin, which is more on like the business side. But Franklin asks, does Seth have any best practices or practical tips for taking the profits from course sales and allocating certain amounts to marketing and other elements of a business to continue growth?
Okay, well, we don't have enough time to go into all the detail here, but you're either a direct marketer or you're a brand marketer. And at the scale we're talking, you're probably a direct marketer, which means there's a funnel. You put money at the top to get you attention. Some of those people are interested. Some of those people go to the next step. Some of those people sign up. And it's a leaky funnel. Most people don't make it to the bottom. If you do the math and you figure out that every time you spend $10 on attention, you make $20 in profit, you can scale it to infinity. You should do that. That's how Google makes all its money. On the other hand, if you're putting $10 in the top and you're getting $1 out at the bottom, then you got a long road ahead before you build enough energy that it starts to pay for itself. So if you're a direct marketer and your funnel is profitable, you should spend 100% of your revenue on making it bigger because you'll get back 200%. But if your funnel is so leaky that it's losing money every day, you got to fix your funnel before you put more money into it.
Great. And yes, so don't worry if I miss your questions. We were trying to get through them, but we won't get through every single one. But we do have a question from Yasmin, who asks, Seth, what's one thing you would tell your younger creator self?
It's all going to be okay. Take your time to work you're proud of. It's all going to be fine.
That's great. All right, looking through, and again, if we miss your questions, please do paste them into the chat. Again, the chat's going very quickly. Okay, so questions. Okay, so something that you have both courses and workshops. Could you touch on the difference between the two?
Okay, so for a while I was told I was the most popular teacher on Skillshare. In my category, I might still be the most popular on Udemy. We put some stuff on Teachable. Love working with the people at Teachable. These three things are courses. This is Seth Godin on video, taking you through, in the case of the marketing one I have on Udemy right now, 60 lessons. And if you want a course, here's a course. I don't think you should take a course from me, which is why I offer it for the people who want one. But what I spend all my days on are my workshops. And the workshops, 97% of the time is spent interacting with other people, and only 3% of the time is spent absorbing content. Because I think that when we work in a workshop, we are way more likely to learn something. So what I wrote about in Stop Stealing Dreams, which you can get online for free as a TED Talk or a ebook, is education is not the same as learning. Education is about compliance and authority. It's about a certificate. It's about accreditation. It's about the degree you get at the end. We have perfected this whole educational industrial complex thing from first grade on. Will this be on the test is the key signal that something's going on. And we have figured out that if we have a big enough prize at the end, we can get people to do almost anything during the whole time. But online, where there's no scarcity, where there's no certification, where there's no accreditation, the piece of paper isn't worth anything. And so what we've got to do is deliver learning, not education. And learning requires enrollment, and enrollment requires participation. And so the reason you won't find my courses on Teachable isn't that Teachable isn't amazing at what they do. They are. It's because I'm obsessed with the interactions between and among students and coaches. And I do just the bare amount of video that I need to start that fire. That's why I'm running workshops and seminars. But sure, a course can work. I'm proud of the courses that I'm still got on Udemy. I wouldn't leave them there if I wasn't proud of them. And more people have taken my courses than my workshops, because we have trained people in Western culture that taking a course, you don't even have to finish it. Just taking it makes you feel smarter. Great, go for it. But when you're ready to really level up, that's why I'm here with my workshops.
That's great. And we have a question from Conrad, who is asking, it's so easy to get demoralized. How do you stay motivated?
Oh, I hear you, Conrad. There are way better ways to make a living than this, for sure. If you haven't read The Long Tail, you should read it. It's free online. The average podcast in the world has 154 downloads per episode. Not 154,000, 154. That makes it really hard to sit in that closet in your house for hours, right? So we all hear about the fancy people at the top of the pyramid who, the Kardashians of the world. Someone's got to be a Kardashian, but it's not going to be you. And it's not going to be me. But what we can do instead of trying to keep up with people who won the attention lottery, is say, there are 6 people today who are making a living as a professional photographer because I taught them something. There are 27 registered nurses who didn't quit their job because I taught them resilience. Go down the list, and you need to keep engaging with those people who have been through it and who have been changed by it, because that's the fuel. People ask me what inspires me after blog post 7,400, and the answer is easy. It's you. It's when I come to do a talk like this with the Teachable folks, or when I get an email from someone and it resonated with them, that's enough to keep me going for a week or a month longer. Because we're teachers, and if you're really a teacher, you just keep showing up. What choice do you have?
And would you say, is there anything so speaking with engaging with the people that are going through your courses and your programs and your workshops, are the things that you found to be either like motivating, inspiring, or just helping to work with the people that have already gone through your program? Like, what can people do from that point once they complete it?
I don't know what you mean. Can you try again?
Yeah. So as in you create, like you said, you have an alumni group for people who've gone through your workshop. So for someone who's creating a course, what are some things that they can do after the student has gotten to the end of the course,
right,
to kind of keep that alive?
So let's use what's happening right now as an example. No one is forcing you to tune in and be part of this conversation, but how many people have tuned in? More than 10, I'm guessing.
A lot, yeah.
Why? Because we're lonely, because we're not sure, because we want to be seen. That's what you need to do for your alumni. Find the others, see the others, lead the others. They call it the internet. If you make a list of everything that has succeeded on the internet, email, chat, social networking, it's all about connecting humans. That's what the internet does. It connects humans. So you're in the connection business. You're not in the video business.
And we have a question from Carlton who says, how do you recommend authentically generating trust to fill your workshops? Should one focus on courses first and then flip the switch to workshops once there's a critical mass? I don't have enough people for a workshop right now.
Okay, so first you said one of my hot button words. There's no such thing as authenticity. That's crazy. The last time you were authentic is when you were 2 months old and lying there in diapers. Ever since then, you have calculated what you were going to do. You have made choices about what you were going to say and how you were going to say it. That's intentional. It's not authentic. And what your people want from you is not your true feelings. They want consistency. They want you to make promises and keep them. So let's restate the question that way. How do I consistently and intentionally build an arc to get me where I want to go? And it's entirely possible that one of the steps along the way is a paid video course where the output of it is that the people who are truly changed want to do a workshop with you. It's also possible that there's a free series of interactions or a series of content that the people who've been through that want to do a workshop with you. My friend Chip Conley is now running in Baja California 5-day long in-person change your life sorts of interactions where you got to get on a plane and fly all the way there and hang out with 12 strangers. That's a workshop, right? How has Chip earned that? Well, he wrote a best-selling book. So he went from 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 $12 books to, oh, I get this guy. I understand this guy. He has something to offer. I'm going to go fly to Baja. And when you do the math, if you can have 14 people 10 times a year, you can make a living doing that. Chip's not trying to make a living doing that, but you can. And so I guess what I'm going to keep coming back to is let's get away from the tactic of what's my short-term method for turning a quick few videos into some money to who am I trying to serve? What change am I trying to make? How do I go on a journey with that group of people? Dane Sanders wrote a book that I recommend to everyone, not just photographers, called Fast Track Photographer, in which he taught photographers how to go from what they used to be, which are the only people with a good camera, to what they are now, which is everyone has a camera. If everyone has a camera, why should I even hire a photographer for my wedding? And once you understand that what you sell isn't pictures, you can create this posture of service. That's what we can do. There are all these tools out there we can use. Teachable is one of them. And we can use them to support our posture of service.
That's great. And I really do think we don't think of the long-term effects of just one person going through your program and then what that can lead to, the impact that it can have. A really great question from Pam, and I know a few of you in the chat really wanted me to ask it, so I got you. Pam says, okay, but who am I to teach or sell anyone anything when no one knows me and is not checking out my stuff now? I'm brand new and not able to get anyone to listen.
Yeah. 2-part answer, Pam. The first part, your first 3 words, who am I? So that's about imposter syndrome. And have we all heard about imposter syndrome? Should I explain it?
I mean, maybe we could briefly. I definitely think we've talked about it.
So imposter syndrome is, I feel like a fraud. I have no authority. The internet used to give a microphone to Oprah, but now I have a microphone. What right do I have to speak up? And people are surprised at what I say to them when they talk to me about imposter syndrome. Because what I say is, yeah, you're an imposter, and so am I. We're all imposters. How can we be sure? How can you know that any single person who shows up is going to be transformed by your work? Every one of them, really? How can you know that your idea about the future is the correct one? No one can predict the future. We're all imposters. If you don't feel like an imposter, you're not trying hard enough. Okay, so we got that out of the way. But now you've reached the other problem, which is scarcity used to drive authority. How many colleges in the Ivy League? I don't know, but not that many. So if you're the president of a college in the Ivy League, you're a big deal. Guess what? I'm the president of the institution I run now. Not such a big deal because anyone can run one. That when you say, I have a course on Teachable, so what? Lots of people have courses on Teachable. Insufficient that scarcity is your claim to fame. So that means you're just not allowed to show up and say, my course is great, but you can't find that out until after you take it. Just trust me. Oh, you don't know who I am? I'll take it anyway. That is not a valid marketing strategy. So if we get past the imposter syndrome, we then get to the next thing, which I write about in This Is Marketing. The smallest viable audience, not the biggest possible audience, the smallest viable audience. Are there 10 people who believe what you need them to believe, who are aware of you, who trust you enough to leap, that they will take your course? If there aren't 10, you should go find a different line of work. If there are 10, what would it be like to deliver a course to them that so moved them, so changed them, that they couldn't help but tell the others? Because if that happened, now you would have 20. And then if you had 20, then you would have 40. So we begin by finding the guts to serve a very specific group, doing it because you've earned the privilege, and then living or dying based on what do they tell the others.
I love that, earning the privilege. And I'm seeing people just are really resonating with this in the chat. Now, as we get close to wrapping up, Seth, I would love to know if there is one thing that you could leave our creators with, whether that is for them creating their courses or just saying yes to this idea that they have. What is something that you'd want them to walk away with?
I don't want you to walk away, first of all. I want you to stay because we need you. But I don't want you to do the state of the art of 2018. State of the art of 2018, a good enough course for a big enough audience. It's not going to make you happy and it's not going to make us happy. We already got those. There's already 700 courses on needle pointing. We don't need your needle pointing course. What we need is something that scares you a lot. Something so specific and so generous that it will shake people. And you probably feel like you don't have it in you because you came out of the industrial education system, which is all about copying and asking if they'll be on the test. So you're used to doing things just like everybody else, but maybe a little better. But you just signed up to be a creator and an innovator and a leader. So how could you get more specific? And how could you get grittier about what you do and what you don't do? And it gets harder and harder as you succeed to stick with your principles of what you do and what you don't do and who you do it for and why. But if you can stick with that just one day longer than everybody else, you'll make it. And you won't make it in the sense that you'll get to buy a new car. You'll make it in the sense that you get to make things better. And that's our work, to make things better.
So great. Seth, thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I know people are just getting so many aha moments in the chat. And I know there are so many questions in here, but I do hope that even though if your question wasn't answered specifically, you still got something that you can take away from this or you can stay with for this. Seth, how can we stay connected with you and just to kind of keep up with the things that you're doing?
Well, thank you, first of all, to everyone who spent the time, and thank you for you setting this up. All of our workshops are at akimbo.link, akimbo.link. I blog at seths.blog. Unfortunately, I don't do any coaching or investing or advising. I apologize for that, but I'm trying to help as many people as I can at scale. But I am confident that if you check out some of the blog posts, do some searching there, you will find something that can move you to the next level. And when you are ready to level up with us, we would love to have you join the Alt MBA.
And I can say, like, firsthand from, I mean, there's so many people that are in the chat that have done this. I know personally Justin has been raving about it. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching this. And we will see you in our next Q&A session, which is on June 12th. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Go make a ruckus and have a good trip to Idaho. We'll see you.
Thank you.